Meghan Markle just made the most embarrassing power move of her career, and it happened at Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party. She showed up thinking she was going to network her way into becoming the next big thing in Hollywood, but instead she got completely ignored and humiliated. The desperation was painful to watch, and by the end of the night Meghan realized that her royal title means absolutely nothing in a room full of people who actually have power. Stay with me, because what happened at this party proves that Meghan's Hollywood comeback is dead on arrival, and she has no idea how badly she's fumbled. Let's set the scene. Kris Jenner's birthday party was the event of the year. Every major celebrity, influencer, and power player in Hollywood was there. The guest list was exclusive, and getting an invitation meant you mattered. Meghan Markle somehow got herself invited, and she saw this as her golden opportunity. She's been trying to relaunch her career in Hollywood ever since she and Harry left the royal family. She wants to be a producer, an actress, a mogul, all of it. And she thought Kris Jenner's party was going to be her moment to make all those connections and prove she still has relevance. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. Meghan showed up to the party dressed like she was attending the Oscars. Full glam, designer everything, camera ready from head to toe. But here's the thing, everyone else at the party was dressed up too, because this is what these people do. Meghan wasn't standing out in a good way. She looked like she was trying too hard. Like she was performing instead of just being there to celebrate Kris. And people noticed. The other guests could immediately tell that Meghan wasn't there to have a good time. She was there to work the room. And work the room she did, or at least she tried. Multiple sources who were at the party say Meghan was going from person to person, introducing herself and pitching ideas. She wasn't being subtle about it. She would start conversations by asking people what they were working on and then immediately launching into what she's trying to do. She was talking about her podcast that got cancelled. She was talking about production companies she wants to start. She was name-dropping Netflix, even though her deal with them basically ended in disaster. She was operating like someone at a networking event, not someone at a private birthday celebration. People were uncomfortable. This wasn't the time or place for Meghan to be hustling for jobs. This was Kris Jenner's birthday party. The focus was supposed to be on Kris and celebrating her. But Meghan couldn't help herself. She saw a room full of influential people and she couldn't resist trying to use it to her advantage. The problem is everyone could see exactly what she was doing, and it was tacky. Hollywood people hate desperation, and Meghan was radiating it. She tried to talk to Kim Kardashian multiple times. Kim was polite but clearly not interested in having a real conversation with Meghan. Every time Meghan approached her, Kim would smile, say a few words, and then move on to talk to someone else. Kim knows opportunity seekers when she sees them, and she wasn't about to let Meghan attach herself to the Kardashian brand. Kim has spent years building her empire, and she's not going to risk it by associating with Meghan, who's become increasingly controversial and unsuccessful. Meghan tried to corner Khloe too. She was asking Khloe about good American and complimenting her business sense. She was clearly trying to butter Khloe up to get some kind of collaboration or endorsement. But Khloe did the same thing Kim did. She was nice but distant. She didn't give Meghan any openings. The Kardashians are master networkers themselves, so they can spot someone trying to use them from a mile away. And they were not having it with Meghan. Then Meghan tried to talk to some of the Hollywood power players there. Producers, directors, executives. She was introducing herself as the Duchess of Sussex like that title means something in Hollywood. But here's what Meghan doesn't understand. Nobody in Hollywood cares that she married a prince. They care about what you can do for them. They care about box office numbers, ratings, influence, money. Meghan has none of that. Her podcast failed. Her Netflix projects underperformed. Her public image is divisive. She has nothing to offer these people except controversy, and that's not valuable in the way she thinks it is. One producer she talked to later told people that Meghan was pitching a reality show concept. Can you believe that? Meghan Markle, who left the royal family because she said she wanted privacy and hated being in the spotlight, was at Kris Jenner's party pitching a reality show. The hypocrisy is astounding. And the producer wasn't interested anyway because Meghan doesn't have the personality or the relatability to carry a reality show. She's too controlled, too image-conscious, too fake. Reality TV audiences can smell inauthenticity, and Meghan reeks of it. She also tried to connect with some of the younger influencers who were there. She was asking them about their social media strategies and their brand deals. She was trying to learn how they stay relevant. But these influencers are in their 20s and early 30s. They have nothing in common with Meghan, who's in her 40s and completely out of touch with what actually connects with audiences right now. The influencers were nice to her face, but after she walked away they were laughing about how desperate she seemed. The most embarrassing moment of the night was when Meghan tried to give a toast. Nobody asked her to. She wasn't part of the planned program. But Meghan grabbed a microphone during a lull and started talking about how inspiring Kris Jenner is and how much she admires her business acumen. It was so transparent. She was using the toast as an opportunity. Align herself with Kris and make herself seem important. But everyone in the room saw through it. Kris smiled and thanked her, but you could tell Kris was annoyed that Meghan had made herself the center of attention at Kris's own party. After the toast, Meghan's attempts to network got even more aggressive. She was practically chasing people around trying to exchange contact information. She was handing out her number to anyone who would take it. She was promising to send emails with her ideas and projects. She was acting like a college graduate at a job fair, not like an A-list celebrity at an exclusive party. And the more desperate she got, the more people avoided her. Word spread quickly through the party that Meghan was there to hustle, and people started literally walking away when they saw her coming. Harry wasn't with her, which is interesting. Some people think Harry refused to come because he knew how it would look. Others think Meghan deliberately came alone because she thought she'd have better luck networking without him there. Either way, Harry's absence was noticed and people were talking about it. The speculation was that maybe Harry is tired of Meghan's constant scheming and social climbing. Maybe he's embarrassed by how thirsty she is for Hollywood acceptance. Maybe the cracks in their relationship are bigger than anyone realizes. Meghan tried to befriend some of the other celebrities' wives and girlfriends, thinking that would be an easier in. But those women weren't interested either. They've seen people like Meghan before. People who try to use friendships as stepping stones to get closer to power. These women protect their partners and their circles from people like that. So when Meghan tried to bond with them over being a mother or being married to someone famous, they shut it down politely but firmly. Nobody wanted to be Meghan's friend or her connection. The fashion at the party became another source of embarrassment for Meghan. She wore something expensive and designer, but it didn't photograph well. When the pictures started coming out on social media, people were criticizing her look. They said she looked dated. They said she was trying to compete with women half her age. They said her styling was off. And in a room full of people who looked effortlessly amazing, Meghan's try-hard look stood out for all the wrong reasons. Even her fashion, which used to be one of her strengths, is failing her now. She tried to position herself near the Kardashians whenever photographers were taking pictures. She wanted to be in the background of their photos so she could later post them and act like she's part of that inner circle. But the Kardashians and their team are too smart for that. They know exactly where the cameras are at all times, and they made sure Meghan wasn't in their shots. There's probably someone whose job it was that night to keep Meghan out of the important photos, and they did their job well because Meghan barely appears in any of the party coverage. The gift Meghan brought for Kris was also apparently underwhelming. Sources say she brought some generic expensive item that had no personal touch or thought behind it. It was the kind of gift you give when you don't really know someone but want to seem generous. Kris is used to getting incredibly thoughtful personal gifts from people who actually know and love her. Meghan's gift just proved that she doesn't have a real relationship with Kris and was only there to use the opportunity. As the night went on, Meghan became increasingly isolated. She had exhausted all her networking attempts and nobody wanted to talk to her anymore. She was standing alone in corners trying to look busy on her phone. She was pretending to be fascinated by the decorations. She was doing anything to avoid looking like the lonely, desperate person she had become. Other guests were having genuine fun, dancing, laughing, celebrating with friends. Meghan was working and failing, and everyone could see it. She tried one last desperate move. She attempted to get a private moment with Kris to pitch her directly. She waited until Kris was walking to another part of the venue and intercepted her. She started talking fast about collaboration opportunities and how they should work together. But Kris has dealt with people trying to use her for decades. She knows every trick in the book. She smiled at Meghan, said something polite, and kept walking. She didn't give Meghan any encouragement or any reason to believe a partnership was possible. It was a masterclass in how to shut someone down without being rude. By the end of the night, Meghan left the party with nothing. No new connections, no new opportunities, no new friends. She had spent hours trying to make something happen and all she got was polite rejection after polite rejection. The party that she thought would be her big break turned into a public display of how little power and influence she actually has. And because there were so many people there, the story of Meghan's desperate networking attempts spread through Hollywood within days. Now everyone knows that Meghan Markle crashed Kris Jenner's party and bombed. The comparison to the Kardashians is brutal for Meghan. The Kardashians built their empire from nothing. They took one sex tape scandal and turned it into a billion-dollar family brand. They work constantly, they're strategic, they understand their audience, they deliver content people actually want. Meghan had every advantage. She was an actress before she was royal. She married into the most famous family in the world. She had global name recognition and goodwill. And she squandered all of it. She's less successful now than she was before she met Harry. That's actually impressive in how badly she's failed. What Meghan doesn't understand is that Hollywood doesn't respect her. They see her as someone who married well and then complained about it. They see her as someone who had opportunities most people would kill for and threw them away. They see her as difficult, entitled, and out of touch. She thinks her royal connection makes her special, but it actually makes her less appealing because it comes with so much baggage and controversy. Nobody wants to work with someone who might bring negative attention and drama to their projects. The podcast failure was a huge red flag to the industry. Spotify gave Meghan and Harry millions of dollars and they produced barely any content. And the content they did produce wasn't good. It didn't get the numbers. It didn't generate buzz. It was boring and self-indulgent. When Spotify chose not to renew the deal, that sent a message to everyone in Hollywood. The message was that Meghan and Harry can't deliver. They can't create content that people actually want to consume. They're not worth the investment. The Netflix situation is similar. Meghan and Harry got a massive Netflix deal and the only thing that really performed was the Harry and Meghan documentary series, and that only did well because people wanted to hear them trash the royal family. Their other projects went nowhere. The cooking show Meghan is supposed to be doing has been delayed multiple times and insiders say Netflix isn't even sure they want to release it anymore. The excitement around Meghan and Harry has completely died and Netflix is realizing they overpaid for talent that can't deliver an audience. So when Meghan showed up at Kris Jenner's party trying to pitch new projects and make new deals, everyone already knew that she's a bad investment. They knew that attaching themselves to Meghan doesn't help their brand, it hurts it. They knew that she brings controversy without bringing success. So no matter how hard she tried to sell herself, nobody was buying. She's damaged goods in Hollywood and one party wasn't going to change that. The desperation also shows that Meghan is running out of options. If she had real opportunities, she wouldn't need to hustle at a birthday party. She would have meetings set up through proper channels with agents and managers facilitating. The fact that she was cold calling people at a social event proves that the industry has shut her out. Nobody is returning her calls. Nobody is taking meetings with her. She's been frozen out and she knows it. That's why she was so aggressive at the party. It might have been her only chance to actually talk to these people face to face. Harry and Meghan's financial situation is also reportedly getting tight. They have an expensive lifestyle to maintain. They have security costs, staff, their mansion in Montecito, private schools for the kids, all of it. The Netflix and Spotify money is running out or already gone. They need new income streams and Meghan was at that party trying to create them. But her tactics were so transparent and desperate that she actually made things worse. Now everyone knows how badly she needs work and that gives her even less negotiating power. The contrast between Meghan and the actual successful people at the party was stark. People like Kim Kardashian don't need to hustle at parties because opportunities come to them. They've built brands that are valuable and sustainable. They understand their audience and deliver what people want. They work hard behind the scenes and make it look effortless in public. Meghan does the opposite. She barely works, she's out of touch with what audiences want, and she makes everything look difficult and forced. That's why Kim is worth billions and Meghan is begging for meetings. There's also the fact that Meghan burned bridges with a lot of people. She's talked badly about the royal family in public, which made her look disloyal and ungrateful. She's allegedly difficult to work with based on stories from her time on Suits and from palace staff. She's sued media outlets, which makes journalists wary of covering her positively. She's cultivated this victim narrative that's tiresome and off-putting. All of these things have contributed to her being persona non grata in the industry. The party also exposed how alone Meghan really is. She doesn't have genuine friends in Hollywood. She has people she's trying to use for connections but nobody who actually cares about her as a person. When she was standing alone at various points during the party, nobody came to check on her or include her. She was literally by herself at a party full of hundreds of people. That's not just networking gone wrong. That's evidence that she's isolated and nobody wants to be associated with her. Kris Jenner is probably annoyed that Meghan used her party this way. Kris is protective of her events and her circle. She doesn't like people who try to take advantage of her hospitality to advance their own agendas. Meghan violated an unspoken rule of elite social gatherings. You're there to celebrate the host, not to conduct business. By making Kris's party about herself, Meghan disrespected Kris. And you don't want Kris Jenner as an enemy in Hollywood. She has more power and connections than Meghan will ever have. This could come back to hurt Meghan even more. The story of what happened at the party is now circulating in Hollywood and it's become a cautionary tale. People are talking about how not to act at industry events. They're using Meghan as an example of desperation and poor judgment. Her reputation, which was already damaged, is now even worse. She's become a joke in the industry. A punchline. The Duchess who crashed a party and embarrassed herself trying to stay relevant. That's not the legacy she wanted, but it's the one she's creating. What's sad is that Meghan had so much potential. She could have used her platform for genuine good. She could have been a successful producer if she had chosen projects people actually cared about instead of vanity projects about herself. She could have been a respected voice on important issues if she hadn't made everything about her victimhood. But she made bad choice after bad choice and now she's at celebrity birthday parties begging for scraps. The biggest lesson from Meghan's disastrous night at Kris Jenner's party is that titles and status don't mean anything if you don't have substance to back them up. Meghan thought being the Duchess of Sussex would open doors in Hollywood, but all it did was create expectations she couldn't meet. She thought her royal connection made her special, but it actually made her more irrelevant because she's not royal enough for the royals and not talented enough for Hollywood. She's stuck in this weird middle ground where nobody really wants her. And now everyone knows it because she showed her desperation at one of the most exclusive parties of the year and failed spectacularly.